Welcome back to the program. As advertised, joining us on line number one is Dale Kirby. He's the NDP member of the House for St. John's North. Good evening, Dale. You're on the air.
Hi, Paddy.
Dale, how'd this all come to pass? So Miss Michael's on holidays, and the four of you discuss it as how, and how was the decision made?
Well, Lorraine's been away for a number of weeks, and we continue our work and talk to each other about what we're hearing from our constituents and from members of the party and other folks. I mean, we've been out there certainly around the province this summer and talking to people, and we came to the conclusion that we wanted a non-confrontational way of opening the idea of having renewal in the party, and certainly doesn't take away from the fact that we all have the utmost respect for Lorraine Michael and the work that she has done, and certainly we are certainly interested in continuing to work alongside her in the House of Assembly. There's no question about that. I think that it's unfortunate that perhaps this has been portrayed in a manner, I think, that other different than our intent, really,
Well, I would suggest your intent is flawed then, because I think the approach you call it a non-confrontational approach, and you respect the woman and want to work with her. You only want to work with her till you get rid of her. And how can you even justify this approach to a woman who has long been the leader and saw the NDP through tough times, and you all very quick to support her as a leader last time we spoke? How could you not face the woman face to face as a caucus, as a group?
Well, we didn't have that opportunity. Over the past 2 years, certainly we've been out there, working on our critic areas. And over the last couple of years since the election, I've knocked down over 2,000 doors chatting with my own constituents, and certainly some of them would confirm that. And, we heard from people that, and we've certainly discussed this, that to be opportune now to have a renewal process to look at where we're going forward, to have different ideas being put forward and so on. And we waited until Lorraine was back from her holidays to get in touch with her about this. Certainly wasn't our intention to have all of this aired in the public way that it has been done. You were trying to oust the leader of the party, and now it's probably going to be pretty big news. I was just wondering why you wouldn't do it face to face, but that's okay. You don't have to answer that one. You were saying that the people are telling you Lorraine isn't the woman for the job because you asked her, was offered unprovoked. Well, like I said, we listen to what people are saying, and I think that there's a sense that we ought to look at renewing our party now. At this time, we have 2 years until the next election, and that's not to take away from Lorraine Michael. I mean, people see her as a principal leader, and we certainly all see her as that. And the full text.
But you don't, and that's fine. And you don't see her as that because you're asking for her to undergo a review, which means you want her gone. Part of the play, no matter what it is, and no matter who you're trying to unseat, whether it be playing poker or knockdowns with hockey cards, you have a plan B. So what did the conversation include? That one of the four of you, possibly you, Mr. Kirby, want to be the leader? Because it's either that or you've approached someone from outside the caucus. So which one is it? Is it you, sir, that wants to be the leader and drove the conversation?
Not at all. No, that's not something that I am considering at all. I have absolutely no intention of that. I see myself as potentially being a good number two to somebody, but that's not something you'll see me doing, and I'm not aware that either of the members of caucus have that intention at all.
And so there must be a hope to find someone as a leader. As the only four who are signatories to this letter, does that mean you're now, as a group, shopping for someone to show interest as a leader? And you've spoken to anybody?
Not at all. And this letter didn't say that we were calling on Ms. Michael to resign her seat or anything like that. And in the eventuality that she wanted to contest it herself, that was certainly something that was open. This was not adversarial. It wasn't intended to be an attack on her at all. It was just to initiate a conversation in a non-confrontational way about how we might renew things going forward, so that we could, look at doing things differently toward the next election, and that'd be differently under her own leadership or under someone else's. But no names certainly were bandied about. And certainly not mine, because that is not my intention. I can guarantee you that.
A lot of times I'm quick to offer an opinion. Some people couldn't care less what I think. But the fact of the matter is, the woman you're speaking of, Miss Michael, says she feels betrayed, and she thinks she was totally blindsided by this. Never any conversation to her face prior to leaving on holiday. When your colleague and a woman that you're speaking of in terms as you are tonight, but she says she feels betrayed, how can you possibly react to that? And what are you going to say when you see her face to face finally?
Well, I think it's really sad that that's the way it was received. I mean, we certainly didn't have that intent. I mean, it wasn't intended to be hurtful or seen as an attack. I think we made this decision with all the best intentions. I mean, it wasn't a palace coup or anything like that. I mean, like I said, if you read the full text of it, it was effusive in praise for her work, but it just talked about how we could turn the page and move forward as a party united.
What does it take to move forward? Because a new leader is the first and obvious question, and no comment offered by you this evening. But what does it take to move forward? In this province, we long turn to the leaders, their charisma and ability to attract quality candidates, but you said Miss Michael could not. How do you do it then? So what is the next step? If it's not a leader, then how do you do anything about the fortunes of your party?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think things will certainly be known in the fullness of time. We'll move forward. I'm certainly going to be at my office in the morning doing the same things that I did all day and the same things I did on the weekend, just continuing to work for my constituents and to do what's best for the party. I've given, 16 to maybe close to 17 years of my life to building the New Democratic Party, and it's certainly not my intention, or I believe the intention of my colleagues, to tear things down. Sometimes there are difficult questions that have to be raised, and maybe people will not agree with exactly the way that we went about it, but it certainly wasn't our intention to have this sort of public conversation about this. It's just unfortunate that this was leaked in the way that it was. This was intended to be an internal discussion within the party about having a renewal process that would move us forward as a party for the betterment of the people of the province, because to be frank, Patty, there are far better issues, far more important issues to folks in Newfoundland and Labrador than the internal machinations of any political party. We've got a lot of challenges ahead to deal with, and I hope that we can continue to move forward together, and I mean that in all sincerity.
Well, I don't think the NDP are trying to betray the people of the province with this, no, but Miss Michael feels betrayed. Let me put it this way. Last question, sir, before I let you go.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know, you say palace coup, and people are going to make up their own opinions about what was done unless you tell us. So let me say this. So there's four of you sitting in a room. It comes down, push comes to shove, and someone's got to say, okay, let's send her the letter, yes or no. Who's the person who posed the question? Who's the ringleader at that point where we say, okay, yes or no, take a vote? Who asked for the vote?
Well, I don't know.
Somebody did. Because it's important though, right? Isn't it? It is important to the fortunes of the party.
Sure. I mean, we sat in a room for sure and had a very long conversation about how to move forward. And I think everyone always had had it in their heads that we would at some point sit down and talk about this. But I mean, I certainly didn't intend there to be a discussion on the evening news before we met as a caucus to discuss it. But that's just the way that it happened, and I still think that we can move forward together despite that. I mean, I think people are still interested in having a conversation about how we renew the party, and I think it's important to have those discussions. Would I have preferred it to happen a different way? Yes. But
so you decided amongst your four of you that you should not send a letter? You were the one saying that we should meet the woman face to face, or how'd that go?
We certainly intended for that to happen at some point, but like I said, that this was just
soften the blow with the letter.
what we saw is a non-confrontational way of opening up the discussion. I mean, again, it was not an attack on Lorraine Michael. We have nothing but the utmost respect for her and her work, and it's said that is stated in the letter. But we have other concerns that certainly we have heard from whether it's rank and file in the party or from the public at large, and we wanted to relate that and try to move forward in a constructive fashion.
What were some of the things that Miss Michael didn't bring as qualities to the table that could have led you to the seat of government? Her age, her background, experience, what are the things that led you to make this decision so far as her particular characteristics?
I don't really myself. I mean, I don't have any particular criticisms in that respect. But, you know, we hear from people that they would like to see a renewal process in the leadership in our party. And I think it's our responsibility to be honest about that. I think we're lying to ourselves if we don't, face that and bring it to the leader's attention. And
I don't think it makes anyone a bad person not to make these decisions, because you're right. I mean, the goal is to have more members and to have the government. I'm just wondering what it is about Miss Michael. Do people say she's too old? And you don't have to tell me what you think. What do you say? You keep telling me here down the street. Are they saying she's too old or not experienced or what?
Yeah. I mean, you could write any number of essays about what people say. I mean, but I think the specifics are not necessarily relevant. I think the theme is particularly important, and what we were trying to do in a non-confrontational way, in a constructive way, that we thought that we would bring this forward for discussion, because it is important. And Lorraine has the best of intentions, and I believe that I do and my colleagues do. And like I said, I think it's really unfortunate that it's been received the way that it's been received. But I hope that we can move forward together, because as I said, I think there are far more important issues to be dealing with now, from Muskrat Falls to housing to seniors issues and so on. And I would hope that we can occupy the public airwaves and our time with dealing with those issues, and not internal issues that will be resolved within our party.
I appreciate you don't want me talking about it on the public airwaves tonight. I thought I'd make 15 minutes for it. Just last before I let you go, and I do appreciate it. Do you want to be the leader? Did we already get to that? Do you want to be the leader of the party?
I can tell you now that I absolutely am not going to be seeking that position. I see myself as somebody who could, like I said, be a decent deputy leader, but I'm not. I don't see myself in that role, and I think there's someone out there who can fulfill that role far better than me.
Dale, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I see myself doing.
I appreciate your time tonight. It was no one else was answering in your caucus, but I'm glad you did, and I very much appreciate your time this evening. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks for hearing me out.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dale Kirby, NDP, member of the House of Assembly, St. John's North. What do you think?